Hey yo, what we're saying is your boy AJ, and as you can see on the screen, we have the LF Cell. Now, this isn't an LF Cell video, though. You probably see by the thumbnail, probably see by the title, it's not a video about LF Cell. He's just here because he's just here. It is what it is. But in this video, I did kind of want to talk about a couple of things. Well, just one thing. What Zenkai will be coming next. With the Zenkai units we've been getting, they've been kind of either linked to the next LF that is coming, or linked to the LF that is out at that moment in time. So, for example, we with the Great Ape Vegeta, we had then the Kaioken Goku Zenkai, and then we had the Super Vegeta Zenkai that linked into the LF Cell. So, are we going to get a unit that's going to buff Cell as a Zenkai, or are we going to get a unit that is related to Cell as a Zenkai? I want to go over 3 units, possibly, that I think, personally, could get Zenkai'd in the next week or two. I don't know. Starting off first with a unit that actually did get a character balance change. If you guys remember those, you're a real OG if you remember character balance changes. This guy, Android 17, one of, you can see here, literally, DBL 03. He was on... God, it must have been like the 4th or 5th banner that came out in the game. He came out with Yellow 18. So obviously, Yellow 18 has a Zenkai right here, you can see. And he doesn't. He did get a character balance change, but he is still, he's still not good. Obviously, he is a 3-year-old unit by now. He is a defense type though, and his defenses are actually pretty good. And he's more oriented towards a blast attack if you are being offensive with him. He has a decent blue card, which is one of the close range ones. 40% chance to inflict paralyze and gives enemy extra strike damage received for 15 counts. His green card, barrier, nullifies enemy attacks excluding rise and rush. If enemies at close range are knocked back to close range and knocked back to long range, similar to like green Zenkai Broly's. And then you reduce your next damage sustained by 30%. So that's your next damage sustained. So if you do this and then you get hit with a blast card, that damage you receive by 30. Yes, and then obviously it says here until enemy combo is finished. So if they drop combo and go again, the damage will go back to normal. But if they carry on a combo, it's still 30%. And also gives you 20% strike damage. And then you can actually combo it up with strike or blast. With the Zenkai, I think this guy would probably include blue card. Would it include blue? Would not really include blue card because of its range. But honestly, that would be pretty. This would be pretty good for Zenkai because he'd be the kind of tank of the androids, so to speak. The only tank really we had for the android team was Android 16 Zenkai, and he's kind of outdated now. His main ability draws a special arts card, increase all enemies with attribute downgrade, 35% damage received for 30 counts, and reduces enemy ki by 60. So he is kind of as well playing like sort of a destruction unit, like reducing enemies ki, giving them debuffs and stuff like that, while being quite a tanky unit. Android or purple blast attack and defense. Not the greatest of the ability, but what do you expect from a unit that's 3 years old? His uniques are very short compared to today's poems or today's books that we have in terms of uniques. One of them is 40% to blast damage inflicted when 3 battle members are left. That is pretty trash. That will just get changed probably to, I don't know, that will get changed to something, just damage inflicted buffs and stuff like that. And his other unique ability reduces enemy ki by 30 and reduces damage received by 50 until combo ends when changing cover. That's not too bad. That is not actually too bad of an ability. Probably get a little bit more buffed, maybe, if he did get a Zenkai. 40% to strike damage inflicted for 40 counts and plus 3 to own substitution counts. So honestly, he's not actually that bad. Max stats, I mean, I don't have it max stats, but there's only one more. There's only like a little bit more I need to pull of him to get him max. And if he does get a Zenkai, I'll just get the missions and get him full 14 star. His stats, they're not the greatest. Not for today's standards, but with a Zenkai would push him up, obviously. The next unit I do want to talk about, we might as well stay over here because we are on Android. Next unit I want to talk about is this guy, Perfect Cell. Now this is the first, if I believe so, the first Perfect Cell we had in the game. The only other cell we had in the game at that point was this guy, I believe, the Perfect Form cell. We did obviously have the EX ones. We had obviously the EX, the yellow one here. We had the Heroes, the second form. We had the second form EX one here, but we didn't have a perfect cell. This is the first one we had, and he came out with the infamous guy himself. That is the red LF Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Now he has a Zenkai as well. So the units I've kind of picked kind of do go with each other, and the units that they were released with have Zenkais already, so they're not going to be, you know, like premature Zenkais. You know, like they're not units that have been around for like a month or something. They're units that have been around for like almost 3 years. Like this, like I said, 17 been around for 3 years. Perfect Cell probably about 2.5 years, but I do actually have him at 14 stars, so that's good. We don't have to change anything. His stats they're okay. They're okay. Obviously, Zenkai would change that, but possibly his defense is a little bit suspectable. I don't know. Blue card, Super Kamehameha, pretty standard. His green was one of those priority ones that can kind of, you know, with this guy, I used to personally anyway, just start the game, go back into long range, wait for them to do something, and then pop this green if I did have it, similar to God, I can't think of a unit off the top of my head now. Similar to, like, I don't know, any unit that has a green card where it kind of yellow Super Vegito. There we go. There's a unit off the top of my head. I can't think of any. But it does give Cell 25% to strike damage inflicted for 25 counts, and inflicts enemy with 20% to strike arts costs, and you can pretty much combo off it with anything, which is pretty good. His ultimate was actually really, really good for its time. It wasn't a beam, it was a rush, so obviously I think he had blast armor on it. I don't know if he had blast armor. I don't think he did actually, but it was pretty powerful for its time. And the only thing is, obviously he came out with LF Gohan, and LF Gohan was red, this guy is yellow, so he did kind of get countered straight away when he came out. 20% chance to inflict faint isn't bad either. His main ability draws is obviously his ultimate. Applies attribute upgrade minus 80 to enemy sustained damage cut effects when changing cover. Probably a post Zenkai Perfect Cell would give him key as well, give him maybe a little bit of health back, maybe give him some damage inflicted buffs. His Z ability is actually pretty good, just singular stat though. 35% as a Z ability isn't bad, but it's just strike attack, so not necessarily the best. Minus 5 to own blast cost, that's fair enough, that could probably stay the same. And then the following effects occur when his character enters battlefield. Seals one enemy card slot randomly. That could come in handy. Sometimes it could just, you know, it could seal a random strike card when you have all strikes. Or sometimes, you know, your enemy could pop their main. You could switch into this guy and seal their ultimate. So it could either work. It could work either way. And 45% damage inflicted for 15 counts, and gradually restores own health. So just buff those numbers up a little bit, obviously, with a Zenkai, and he's good to go, I would say. And he does have a cover rescue as well. Receives 0 damage when changing cover for the first time, plus 5 to own sub count when activated. So obviously that's pretty good as well. He was like, along with one of the other units I'm going to talk about next, he was one of the OG kind of cover rescue units, along with that guy and Super Saiyan 3 Goku, the LF one. But he would be pretty good. Like I said, the only thing I'd really change about this guy, just add some more numbers on here. Just add key, health, and damage onto his main ability. Just give him a bit more damage, just here or thereabouts. Yeah, you don't really need to do much else, just buff the numbers up. That's all you really need to do. So moving on to the last unit that I want to talk about, you can probably see by the thumbnail, and we did actually people thought that this guy would get a Zenkai earlier on in the year because we had a teaser for it. Or we had a teaser featuring this guy's alternate art, I think it was. And everyone was just, speculating, oh, Super Saiyan Goku, instant transmission Goku Zenkai, instant transmission Goku Zenkai incoming. But it didn't happen. Don't know why that was. Maybe because people were sick of there being some family buffs. This guy would be pretty toxic as a Zenkai. So this is probably one of those ones where I don't see it happening. If it does happen, it probably won't be as good as the other two. Let's just put it that way. His stats are abysmal, obviously, but I do have him 14 stars, and his stats are like this. The only stat he has above, blast attack is 208. He's terrible. He's terrible. He's a support type, but he doesn't support. Blast damage inflicted on his green and key recovery. He does have, though, the counter blue card, which does have a chance to inflict faint as well. So yeah, the only other downside to this as well is that it reduces your advantage in cage to 0, so you do kind of have to play around that as well. But obviously with the right cards, the right playstyle, the right everything, this guy could be pretty nasty with his Zenkai. His main ability does obviously give him an extra cover rescue that he has, like I said, with the yellow cell had. So you can use it once to dodge maybe one Rising Rush, and then maybe later on in the fight, your character is going to get hit with an ultimate card and you want to use it again. If you use the main ability, then you can do that. You draw a blue card as well, so obviously there is that as well. And then 30% to blast damage inflicted for 15 counts. His Z ability is only green strike and blast attack, so maybe he'd buff. If they really wanted to nerf this Zenkai, they'd probably make him buff green Cell Saga as a Zenkai ability. But I can probably see him doing maybe green Sun Family or green Saiyan or green Super Saiyan or something like that, because green Cell Saga has literally no options. We'll have a look in a minute, but I don't think it has any options. And then if you have a Gohan, you give 20% to strike damage inflicted by allied Gohan characters for 10 timer counts when his character switches to standby. That's okay. That's good. That's good. Obviously for only strike-based Gohans, if you have the LF Red Gohan, then probably not going to benefit as much from that because he's more of a range type character. But yeah, this guy is pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. I can't remember. I did try this guy on modern PvP like a couple of months ago, and he just doesn't do any damage. It doesn't do any damage whatsoever. But that would be probably the least likely one. But you can see, yeah, green Cell Saga. I mean, what you're gonna buff? You're gonna buff EX Super Vegeta. I mean, EX Super Vegeta is good. Don't get me wrong. Y'all gonna be buffing EX first. Sparking first form cell. Sorry. Y'all gonna be Zenkai buffing first form cell. Y'all gonna be Zenkai buffing Extreme Tien. Come on now. Yeah. That though is probably the least likely of the ones that I can see. But with that, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. Just a quick peep count, by the way. Y'all notice my chrono crystals are a very, very, very sweet number right there. Right, but there's no little strands of crystals just lying about. It's a nice even number. But let me know what you guys think. What Zenkai can you guys see coming if it's not one of these three? Personally, I think out of the three, I'd say 17 is probably the most likely, and then followed by the Perfect Cell, and then instant transmission Goku. But let me know your opinions. I'm going to go ahead, get myself out of there. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do that good stuff, because it is, as always, very highly appreciated. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.